Pay attention, you bastards.
Yo, what up, y'all? Welcome back. So this Shia LaBeouf situation has just gotten way worse. He just came out with a recent interview where he's talking so much, he's explaining so much, he's breaking everything down, letting it be known. He's talking about his gang ties to a LA street gang. He's talking about drug addiction. He's talking about alcoholism. He's talking about suicide. He's talking about so many things, man. And it's not looking too good for Shia LaBeouf. I'm a huge fan. It's sad to see him like this, but it's one of those things that it happens. So I want to dive in to some of the key points of the interview. For those of you who have not seen or have not heard, he just came out with this interview where he's telling everything. He's breaking shit down, man. So if you have not seen or have not heard, we're gonna dive in a little bit, get a gist of what's going on with Shia LaBeouf as of recent. So where I want to start at in the interview was when he talks about the recent fight that he just got in. So for those of you who are not privy to it, Shia LaBeouf was just in a bar fight in Louisiana, right? So, they had Mardi Gras, right? And he was out there enjoying himself. I believe Shia LaBeouf lives out there. So, he gets into this crazy fight, especially after all the shit he's already been through. He gets into this fight and he gets thrown in jail, gets right back out of jail, and goes right back to the same spot where he got in a fight at. You know what I'm saying? So he finally touches on it. This is his first time speaking about it and kind of letting it be known, what happened and what's going on.
I'm a bright light G, so I come out here, I'm out here. And that's sexy. You know what I mean? So I think, but that's not we're going to get to it. I don't want to know, but that's not to diminish on that side either. I fucked up, you know what I mean? But,
you mean like cloud chasing is what led to you having an altercation? Much.
Yeah.
Can you break down like what happened that led up to that fight?
I was drunk, and then I felt infringed upon. Yeah, like in terms of my proximity, but I wasn't in my right mind, and so it's on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just trying to get into the mechanics of how that happens, because so much of this story is about you being a public figure and being in the limelight for so long. Anytime you pop out somewhere, especially on the party tip, the first thing people are going to say is like, let me get a picture, let me take a video. What was it about these particular interactions, like at our bar specifically, that like made things escalate, you think?
I don't know, bro. I have no idea, bro. I'll be honest with you, it's probably just my fault, bro, somewhere. I don't know how. Well, I'm gonna figure it out, dog. You're catching me. This is why it's beautiful. I don't know many people be open to this. I don't have answers yet. You know what I mean? I don't have any answers yet. I'm in the middle.
Yeah, man. So pretty much that's what happened, man. He was there, gets into it, and I think Shia LaBeouf is in a messed up situation right now. He talked a lot about alcoholism in the past. He talked a lot about drugs in the past. He talked about going to rehab and being in rehab. But I feel like he's back to square one. I feel like he's back on the drugs. I feel like he's back, drinking. Not I feel like, I know he's back drinking because I just seen him drinking on this interview. So it's one of them things where I feel like he's kind of on a downward spiral a little bit. But it's life, man. I feel like when life hits you, it hits you. And as much as we love to believe that a lot of these major actors, major, entertainment people, that they're essentially not real people, like they don't make mistakes. They just as real as us. You know what I'm saying? Like they just have a platform. You know what I mean? So the same things that we go through, the ups, the downs, the alcoholism, the drugs, the depression, et cetera, they go through the same things that we go through. They're just going through it in front of our faces, so I feel like Shia LaBeouf is one of those people where he's at that situation where it's like, bro, like I'm going through what I'm going through, but I'm just in front of everybody's faces. You know, I believe Shia LaBeouf is like, I believe he's probably like what 38, 39, if not 40. You know, still a younger dude, but it seems like he just going through a lot. But he, again, just like a lot of young child stars, the Raven Simones, the Orlando Browns, the Bow Wows, etc., they grew up in front of our faces. So we might see them at their lowest point and at their highest point because, again, they're constantly on camera. Think about how many times you messed up in life and said, man, I went through these ups and downs and, you know, depression, et cetera, alcoholism, whatever it may be. But you're not on camera. So when you go outside or you're at a nightclub and you're drunk or whatever the case may be, no one's necessarily filming you, right? Or you get into that fight with somebody, no one's necessarily filming you. It's just more so on some, hey, you know, that person's drunk, as opposed to a Shia LaBeouf where it's like, I'm being filmed. You know what I mean? So it's one of them things. But again, man, it's one of them things where you got to pray for him. You got to definitely pray for him and hope that he can make it out of the situation. You know, so another cool thing I thought about with the interview was that he dives into him getting on and how he kind of started his whole career. You know, and I feel like when you go back and you look at a story, you start to realize and see how somebody is going through what they're going through. Because a lot of times we'll look at somebody in the present day and be like, damn, like they going through all of this, right? Why they tripping the way they tripping? Why they acting the way they acting? Why they talking the way they talking? So he goes back and he kind of touches on, you know, how he kind of got all of this going. You know, he talks about how he grew up, talks about his dad. And it, to me, as a Shia LaBeouf fan, and I've always said this, Shia LaBeouf to me has the potential to be a Leonardo DiCaprio, a Brad Pitt. He has the potential to be that guy, you know, a Liam Neeson, that level of actor, right? I personally feel that way. You know, again, I've been a Shia LaBeouf fan since Even Stevens. You know what I'm saying? And he talks about that on an interview where he's like, I'm everybody's cousin. You know what I mean? Like the same way that Will Smith may be everybody's uncle. You feel like you know him because you grew up watching him, right? So you look at a Will Smith, or you look at a lot of these guys, Leonardo or whoever it may be. We grew up watching these people. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of feel like you know the person, even though you don't know him. So when you meet him, it's like, you know, a lot of people want to run up to him and hug him and, hey, I love you, this and that. You know, same way some people are like, man, I don't like you because of this, that, and this and this. You know what I'm saying? So he talks about when he first got into the industry. I thought this was interesting.
Look, this talent, Andrew. I won the lottery, fool. I completely won the lottery. Dude, I won the lottery. I won a scratch off. It's like that. It's like I won a scratch off lottery. There's no such thing as talent at all. Do you believe in talent?
Yeah.
Tell me.
I think as an interviewer, like listening is a talent. But I do look back at certain things.
That's a skill.
Okay, so talent would be like juggling, or
which is also a skill.
Being able to exhale for 2 minutes straight without
which is
inhaling.
also a skill.
So then, by that criteria, I guess there's no talents.
Correct. There's only push-ups.
So the Even Stevens thing just hit random.
No, it didn't hit random. I was prepared for the moment. My dad was a hustler. He was taking me to comedy clubs all the time. I was talking shit to adults all the time. When I got to meet a casting director, I knew how to talk shit to adults.
So you kind of were molded by your upbringing to be in a position to do something.
I did enough push-ups.
You said you first got into...
Hold on for 1 second, y'all. I want this to... We are streaming this live, so a lot of times it'd be glitchy a little bit. But I want to definitely make sure that you guys get all of this.
Around 18.
The AA rooms?
Yeah.
No, my dad grew up in the room. I learned how to smoke cigarettes in AA rooms. My dad was in AA when I was, before I ever got on. My dad was a junkie my whole life, so then, and God bless him, the fool ain't no more. For real.
Yeah.
He's clean, I'm not. G shit, bro. G shit.
So, you know, that right there, he kind of let it be known, like, bro, I kind of was just a kid. And he talks about it in other interviews as well. He's like, yo, I wasn't really groomed like a lot of these kids from, you know, being a super, super young kid, like a Raven Simone, for example, who was like 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old. He's like, bro, I was just talking shit to adults. And my dad was like a hustler, so he was taking me different places. But again, he was addicted to a lot of substances. You know what I'm saying? So what you may look at, people may look at Shia LaBeouf and be like, all right, well, he's this entitled kid. He's been rich since he was young. It's like, no, I got on young, but at the same time, my family is who my family is. You know, I'm tied into certain groups the way I've been tied into certain groups. You know, and I'm going through the same things that a lot of y'all go through. Again, I'm just on camera. You know, so I thought that was really interesting to hear, and him opening up about his dad saying, look, like, my dad was on this, but now he's sober. I'm the one that's kind of messed up. Y'all see he got a beer in his hand. And again, if you're a Shia LaBeouf fan and you know, like, he been dealing with addiction for a long time. He dealing with alcoholism for a long time. So it's like the fact that he got a beer in his hand, and through this interview he's drinking. You could tell he's pretty, I wouldn't say he's drunk in the interview, but you could tell he tipsy in the interview, where he's kind of like, look, bro, like, I'm just talking. I'm telling y'all the real me. I'm letting y'all, like, this ain't what y'all might think it is. And the interesting thing to me is that a lot of actors at that level, you know, who did Transformers and did these big movies, a lot of them, you're not going to hear the real. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to hear the real current of what's going on and how they really came up. And, you know, it's almost like it's like a mystique that they have, right? That's why I like what this interview is like. He's getting out there and saying, hey, look, this is what it is. This is who I truly am. Y'all see me online, y'all see the movies, but y'all don't know me. This is really who I am, you know? And he's always been like that. But, you know, as he does more interviews and as he talks more, you kind of see like, yo, this dude is really, you know, a different type of guy. Another thing that I thought was interesting is there's been this whole thing going around the internet where it's like, you know, he's part of a gang, and he did a movie. I believe the movie was called, I want to say, I could be totally wrong, LaBeouf. Let me see, gangster movie. Let me know in the chat if y'all know the movie that he did where he was like, it was like a gangster movie. The Tax Collector, right? So he does this movie called The Tax Collector, where he plays a gangster dude. And within that movie, he ends up, you know, because he was playing a gangster from a Latin gang. And a lot of people had this thing where they're like, yo, I think he really from a gang. And, you know, there was just stuff going around the internet saying he's from a certain gang and he joined this gang, this and that. Right. So, again, this is just going around the internet. It's never been confirmed. So in this interview, this was the first time that he actually confirmed. He was like, yeah, no, I'm from a gang. This is the gang. This is how it happened. And he's really transparent about it, which, again, that's why I say this interview is so crazy to me, because people don't do that, you know, especially people at his level in his career. They just don't do that. They don't talk about ties and, you know, where they from or whatever the case may be. It's something that you do not hear. That's not something of a norm where you be like, oh, well, yeah, he's this person's. Now you hear it in hip hop. That's it. You know what I'm saying? You don't really hear it from a huge actor like that. You know what I mean? You hear it in hip hop or you hear it in music or whatever the case may be. But he actually goes in and dives in and touches on exactly what it is, exactly how it came about, and where he's at. Now, I don't know if this was the smartest thing to do. You know, I don't think this was something that's, you know, which is why a lot of people don't do it. I don't think this is the smartest thing to do, but it definitely gives him that real stamp where it's like, bro, I'm a real person, bro. Like this is what it is. You know, y'all, you know, and again, I love transparency, right? That's a big thing for me. I love, like, get straight to it. Like a lot of actors beat around the bush, and even a lot of rappers beat around the bush, and they're asked a direct question, and they say all this cool shit, and it's like, bro, just say what it is, man. Get straight to the point. You know what I mean? So that's one thing I loved about this whole interview, especially this part. So let's dive in on this, where he talks about his gang ties and what it is, and how it came about.
I got bar mitzvahed. I wasn't into that shit at all.
Big internet lore is also that you're like down from a hood in LA.
It's true.
Can you elaborate?
Harpies 13, my key holder is Conejo. It happened through a film. I was prepping a movie. I asked if I could. He told me what the requirements were. I said yes. We love each other, all of us. We are all, most of us fathers. Most of us are trying to live good lives. Most of us are God-led.
Did you have to get like jumped in or anything?
Nothing silly like that. No, come on. When I joined, it was I was 36, and it was like they had already done all the rowdy for so many years that I'm kind of the t-shirt salesman.
And that was when you were filming for that role as Creeper, right?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I always thought that this was Big Hazard, the hood that made PCP.
No, that's Harpies.
Yeah, I guess you wouldn't get jumped into a gang at 36 years old.
I mean, yeah, we talked about it.
So this part was really interesting to me. Like I said, just knowing he from a gang, because it's like, people don't say that. You know what I mean? Especially, again, at his level in his career, people don't say that. But the one thing that stood out to me, it made me think of Chris Brown when he said, nah, like I didn't get jumped on like that. They did, I'm like the poster child for the gang. You know what I'm saying? Like, and most people will look at that and say, oh, nigga, you soft. You ain't nobody, you soft. But he just kept it real. Whether you think he's soft, whether you think he's stupid for, or whatever it may be, he kept it real. And I feel like a lot of people, and with Chris Brown, I feel like it's not kept real. You know what I'm saying? Like, he kept it 1,000. Like, bro, I'm still Shia LaBeouf. I'm still Shia LaBeouf. So are they jumping me in a gang, or do I gotta go and put in work like most people know? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm maybe more the person that's the spokesperson. Like, I'm speaking for, you know what I'm saying, letting it be known, like, this ain't what you might think it is. We look out for each other. We help each other. We go through the same things. These are my friends. You know what I mean? And like, that's one thing that I respect about him, how he said it, which a lot of people don't. You know what I'm saying? Lil Wayne never said it. Chris Brown, a lot of these big artists, you know what I'm saying, big celebrities that join gangs, they don't never let it be known. Like, bro, what is it? You ask them a direct question, they over there like, I don't know. Next question, like, you know what I'm saying? He kept it all the way real, like, bro, like, I'm more like a poster child in a sense, right? Play this again.
I got bar mitzvahed. I wasn't into that shit at all.
Big internet lore is also that you're like down from a hood in LA.
It's true.
Can you elaborate?
Harpies 13, my key holder is Conejo. It happened through a film. I was prepping a movie. I asked if I could. He told me what the requirements were. I said yes. We love each other, all of us. We are all, most of us fathers. Most of us are trying to live good lives. Most of us are God-led.
Did you have to get like jumped in or anything?
Nothing silly like that. No, come on. When I joined, it was I was 36, and it was like they had already done all the rowdy for so many years that I'm kind of the t-shirt salesman.
And that was when you were filming.
Yeah, I mean, so that's what I'm talking about right there. Now, again, do I think that that's the smartest move? Hell no, I ain't gonna lie to you. I think that's dumb as hell, to be honest. But nevertheless, that's just what it is. That's what the decision he made. I think anybody joining a gang at 25 plus, to me, you tripping. Now, 21 plus, to me, you tripping. To me, just my opinion, right? Because of the fact that when you're young and you're looking up to people, and you're young enough to not know what route it could lead you down. You know what I'm saying? When you're less than 21, you're still very impressionable, and you're young enough to know, hey, listen. Or I'm gonna say this: you're ignorant enough. You know what I'm saying? To where it's like you're not thinking about where this is going to lead me because your mind hasn't fully developed yet. So a nigga that's young, under 21, oh, I'm not thinking about the fact that if I do something, I'm gonna get locked up for 5 years, 10 years, or whatever. I'm not thinking about the fact that I gotta look over my shoulder because of this and that. We got beefs that I gotta handle whether I did it or whether I didn't, for the simple fact that I'm putting this stamp on my back. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not thinking about all the other realistic things that men think about at an older age. So when you get into anything like that after 21, to me, it's my opinion, you haven't figured out man